Good afternoon, everybody, and if you're joining us from the far West Coast, good morning, and welcome to today's SRDS.com Media Pro webinar, brought to you by Kantar Media SRDS. Today's session is How to Find and Evaluate Digital Media Websites. I'll note that today's session on researching sites is the second in a multi-part series on digital media. You can find last month's session, which was on networks and tech, available on demand by logging in to the SRDS.com planning platform with your username and password. And next month we'll be premiering a new webinar on programmatic opportunities, so stay tuned for information on that. So once again, welcome. We know your time is extremely precious, so we've only scheduled half an hour today. In order to keep things moving, we do ask that everyone mute your phone line. We're planning to do our best to accommodate some time for questions before our time is up, so please hold any questions that you may have until the end of the session. Rest assured, we will send out a link later today with the recording from today's session and any materials that Tina mentions throughout. So if you're registered and you can hear me now, we'll send you the video to replay or share it with your colleagues. You'll also be able to find the link to the on-demand recording anytime you sign in to SRDS.com starting later in the week. So with all that out of the way, welcome again, and let's get started. My name is Mike Morrow. I'm the Content and Online Marketing Director for Kantar Media SRDS, and I'm joined today by our corporate trainer, who most of you hopefully already know, and that's Tina Stevens. In just a few minutes, Tina is going to show us exactly how to find, consider, and better understand websites available for media plans using your SRDS.com subscription. She'll also lay out a couple of real-world examples that SRDS clients have shared with her. But before we do that, I know that some of the folks on today's call are new to the SRDS digital media planning tools, so I wanted to give you some very, very brief context. When you look at the digital advertising ecosystem, one way to think about it might be as a spectrum of available inventory, from highly differentiated inventory to undifferentiated. You have that which is available through ad networks and various tech vendors, DSPs and the like. These are the types of companies I mentioned before that we showed you during last month's tutorial. And again, that recording is available from within the SRDS.com user portal. In the middle of the spectrum, offering some of the best of all worlds, is programmatic direct. Now, I'm sure you know this is a very hot area right now, and you will absolutely be hearing more from Kantar Media about this space soon. We'll be scheduling a webinar about the topic, and in the meantime, you can actually read about some of our exciting plans at SRDS.com if you haven't already seen some of the news stories from the past couple of weeks. But that does leave us with Site Direct, working directly with websites, and that's what we're discussing today. So with all of these cool and advanced and interesting technological tools available, why would someone go directly to the site publisher? Well, there's lots of reasons. First and foremost might be to find all the available inventory, not just remnant space that a particular publisher might have across all the different channels, whether it be website or different digital spaces, or even up to and including different print properties that might be associated with that media brand. It's also often the best way to approach finding very unique or premium programs, things like sponsorships, site takeovers, and more customized opportunities. You want to go directly to the site and directly to the publisher in those cases. Sometimes you just want to go directly to a site that you know and already trust and know more about their audience. It's something that's a known quantity and something that you're familiar with. One that I can relate to, because I often deal with customer service people, is sometimes it's nice to just speak directly to a human rather than going through a technology platform. And sometimes going directly to the site is the best way to reach long-tail or niche audiences that might not have invested or might not be working through programmatic or network spaces. What do I mean when I say long tail? Tina had mentioned that this is a question that she actually receives a lot when she does website trainings. What does it mean when SRDS talks about long tail versus short tail websites? Well, long tail and short tail is a term that was used by Chris Anderson back in 2004. He wrote an article for Wired magazine. It became a book in 2006. And he applied an older statistical kind of economic model to the new digital economy. It was namely that The widely distributed niche audiences add up to be more powerful than the few blockbusters at the head of the tail. So when we refer to long-tail sites, we're referring to the thousands of websites that serve very targeted niche subjects and audiences, but may still be highly effective for targeted advertising on your plans. Short-tail or head sites refer to the mega-popular sites like CNN or those of that magnitude. So on to using SRDS.com to research these sites. Why? Well, first of all, we give you data on the mega brands and the small sites, national and local, the whole tail, if you will. We also provide data only on sites that serve ads and are ad supported. So you know that all other things being equal, a site that's listed in SRDS.com is a good candidate for your media plan. We include websites like Forbes.com that are part of a multi-channel brand offering across web, print, etc., and pure play or standalone sites like Sony Crackle that are digital or web only. And as Tina's about to show you, we can give you essential information that lets you make apples-to-apples comparisons for sites based on audience metrics, available ad sizes or formats, and information from the site profile. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I think I'll hand it over to Tina, and she can show you exactly how you can go into SRDS.com to find and evaluate these sites.
Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you all for your time and interest in how the SRDS Digital Websites Database can help you find and consider websites for your digital media research and planning. As Mike just mentioned, the database has nearly 21,000 websites, all that accept advertising, large sites and small, mainstream and niche, pure play as well as those tied to traditional media. And it's this range and depth of options that makes this resource a valuable tool for your digital efforts. So let's talk about finding sites to consider. Just like in all the other SRDS resources, when you select your website, your database over here on the left-hand side, you're immediately going to be returned filtering categories so you can start filtering down to find the sites that meet your criteria. For websites, you can find consumer-oriented sites using the same classifications that you may be familiar with from the SRDS consumer database. There are a couple hundred of them listed in alpha order for you to select from, and as you can see, they're essentially interest categories and in some cases audience categories. If you prefer, you can find business-to-business sites using the same business-to-business classifications that you may be familiar with from the SRDS business database. Again, there are at least a couple hundred of them listed in alpha order. These are essentially industry categories set by SRDS. However, we also include the healthcare classifications in this area, and you can see the healthcare classifications are essentially healthcare specialty categories. Finally, if you prefer, you can also search for websites by geographic content using the DMAs. All 210 DMAs are listed in alpha order for you to select from. If you're not sure what DMA your market falls into, this Find DMA link here to the right allows you to enter a zip code and be pulled into the appropriate DMA for that zip code, or a city and state, county and state, or even see all DMAs for your selected state if you choose. You can further narrow your options using display ad size. And this is really helpful when going into your search, you already know the creative has been set, and you know you're looking for sites that are going to accept that creative. Save yourself some time and only look at the sites that accept the size that you need them to. The other way that you can search is by using the open search. The open search is located on the toolbar, and you can use it for those quick lookups. You already know a site, you want to go directly to it, maybe you need a phone number, maybe you want to confirm a unique visitor number, what have you. Enter the name of the site, remember to select title only, make sure Digital Websites Database is selected, click go, and it brings you directly to the site listing that you are interested in. You can also use the open search to search across any number of keywords or phrases to find those listings that include what you've entered in the open search area. So maybe I'm looking for sites that have something to do with women who are interested in fitness. I can go ahead and type in my keywords. My results come back to me in the center of the screen. And when you use the open search in this way, what's nice is you can review all your results in the center of the screen, or you can further narrow using your filtering categories over here on the right-hand side. So maybe you're just interested in finding out what parenthood-oriented magazines, websites are in your results set. Select that category to narrow down to that particular site. So some nice functionality there as well. Let's talk a little bit about our results and how we can review them and how they come back to us. So whenever you do a search in SRDS, regardless of what kind of search you do, your results always come back to you in the center of the screen. They always come back in what's called featured order, and all that means is that the ones at the top are working harder to get your eyes on their listing than those below them. They do that in a variety of ways. They do that by offering up things like images for you to copy and paste, drop into any presentation or documents that you may be creating. And what's nice about all of the images in SRDS is they are a simple copy paste or a drag and drop to your desktop if you're a Mac user, and very easy to use and place for whatever purposes you need. They also do that by offering up more information through these icons that you see me pointing to below. And these more information icons are just that. It's more information above and beyond what we at SRDS collect as part of the standard collection process. And it's something that this media owner is paying to make available to you. The arrow indicates they have third-party research to share. Typically, this is the kind of research you'd see in a media kit. The star tells you that they have marketing opportunities above and beyond the website that they want you to know about, and that can be anything from a blog to e-newsletters to white papers, events, or trade shows that they sponsor. Peopleheads tells you there's distribution and audience data to share. If they want to call out their compete metrics, you'll see the compete logo. If they have any social media presence, you'll be able to link to their social media sites for you to see how they're trying to interact with their target audience. Plus, if you see a camera icon, that means that they have a video media kit. And that's a 2 to 3 minute video overview of all advertising opportunities and sponsorships that you might want to be aware of. So lots of additional information to help you evaluate this media property. You always have an option of at least resorting in alpha order. Since we're looking at websites, we're also given the opportunity to resort and review our results by unique visitors. This initial view of your results, this is called the list view, and think of it as a snapshot overview. It offers up the name of the site here to the left in blue. Clicking on the name or clicking on the image will load the full SRDS listing profile for you to review, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. It also provides a little blurb about the editorial content, maybe a little bit about the audience. You'll see a unique visitor number as well. You can also view your results in what's called the grid view format. And if you haven't used the grid view, it's a very nice way for you to quickly scan through and review your options. It drops your results into more of a table format. It top-lines a few key elements from that list view and makes it quick and easy for you to not only scan through your options, but also compare them. The other nice thing about the grid view is that the first few columns are always resortable, so you can resort the results the way you want to view them. Maybe you want to view them by unique visitor. Click on that column heading, resort, and review the results the way you want to. Kind of on an aside, if you will, the grid view, while it's not a formal report, it is something that you can copy and paste and drop into Excel. We'll talk about the formal reports in just a couple minutes, but the grid view, you do have to click and drag over the whole thing, copy, paste it, drop it into Excel. You do have to do some minor formatting when it goes into Excel. However, anytime you see these logos in the grid view, those follow you into that Excel document, and with very little effort from you, you have a nice looking document for you to save and manipulate however you so choose. I'm going to go ahead and click on one of the media properties to load up their listing profile. We'll walk through all of the information that you'll see in these digital listing profiles. Before we get into that, I just want to point out these home screen images that you see attached to the digital listings. This was an effort that we in our data team took on early last year, and that was adding home screen images to all of the digital listings. And we did that for a couple of reasons. First of all, having that image just for an initial evaluation of look and feel for the site, regardless of what site it is helpful. But as Mike mentioned, we have a lot of long-tail sites in our database, and these are sites that maybe you've never seen before. So having something to visually attach to and get yourself familiar with is very helpful. So you've got that to get started. In terms of the layout of the listing profile, just like all of the other SRDS listings, the data is laid out for you in tabbed format. The tabs are all pretty self-explanatory and make getting to the information that you need quick and easy. We're always going to start you on that general information tab to get you familiar with who this media property is. In some cases, you'll see a positioning statement. This is something that the media owner pays to include in their listing, and it's their opportunity to speak directly to you about who they are, what they have to offer, and why you should consider working with them. The profile, this is an objective overview of the site, a little bit about content, a little bit about audience for you to consider. Links to the website, obviously, links to media kits if they have them on the website. And if the website has a print counterpart, you'll be able to toggle between the digital listing and the print listing through the link on the General Information tab here as well. Moving along, contacts is next. These are the phone, fax, email contacts at the website that would be able to answer your questions about advertising on their site. Anytime emails are provided, you'll see live links to those emails for you to take advantage of as well. The Audience Metrics tab is full of a whole lot of great information to help you really understand and evaluate these options. Compete is our primary partner for providing a unique visitor number on virtually all of our digital listings on a monthly basis. They may report up to these 5 other metrics you see listed as well. They'll provide a 12-month unique visitor trending graph for some historical perspective, and clicking on the graph image or view additional Compete metrics allows you to link off to Free Compete to take advantage of Free Compete's functionality. Through a partnership that Compete has with a company called Centris, Centris provides demographic information on the site for you to review and understand the demographic makeup of the site. If Nielsen NetView measures the site, we have some NetView data for you to review. If BPA audits the site, you'll have a link to the full-blown BPA audit for you to review. Plus, if the site owner chooses to provide us with their own collected metrics, you'll see that in this area as well. So a lot of information to help you really understand and evaluate these digital options. The next tab, Ad Sizes and Opportunities. This is another area of the digital listings that has grown in the last year as well. Ad Sizes and Formats is new to these listings for the last year, and this is through a partnership that we have with a company that's able to return back to us actual ad sizes and formats that they found being served on many of the sites that we have listed. They return IAB standard units being served as well as any non-IAB standard units being served, formats that they found being served as well. And then we provide you a link to current IAB standards and guidelines. The advertising opportunities piece of this tab has been what we've been going to the digital listings with for several years now, and it's a list of 13 common advertising opportunities across websites. We ask, what do you make available, and we list what they tell us in this area. The Terms and Definitions link, this is a list of what those 13 opportunities are, so you can see what a site may currently not be making available. Plus it provides the IAB definitions for each of those terms as well. Finally, Brand Portfolio. You're not always going to see the Brand Portfolio tab on every listing. This is, again, something that the site owner or media owner pays to include in their listing. But it gives them the opportunity to lay it all out for you in terms of everything they have to offer related to this particular brand, in this case, Forbes.com. So they're going to tell you a little bit more about the website since we're looking at the digital listing. If they have a print opportunity for you, they'll let you know about that, and we'll give you a link to that listing in SRDS as well. You'll see duplicate links to some of these more information icons along with those featured marketing opportunities spelled out for you, and links to any additional information related to those featured marketing opportunities when provided. So it's a nice landscape and overview of all of your options related to this brand. Before I move off of the listing, I just want to point out anytime you go into any listing in SRDS, to the right of the listing detail in this SRDS Users Also Viewed area, this is insight for you to take into account. It tells you other users who went and looked at the Forbes.com listing in SRDS also went ahead and looked at these other listings as well. So it's insight into what other SRDS users are considering. What's nice is you can click on any of those listing names to load their SRDS listing profile, review the profile, get whatever information you need. When you're done, here in the upper left-hand corner, previous listing, that's going to take me right back to that Forbes.com listing, and then back to results is going to take me all the way back to my initial set of results so I can continue to move forward and review my options. So we've gone through the different searching options. We've gone through sorting, filtering, reviewing our results. Let's talk a little bit about reporting now. So there are 2 reporting options available, and in order to create a report you have to do a search, any search whatsoever, to bring up results to review, so you have listings to tag, so you have something to create those reports with. So here are my results for me to start reviewing and tagging. From this list view, the initial view of your results, upper right-hand corner here, select all and deselect all. These options work for the page of results that you're viewing, and you'll notice we have 2 pages. If I wanted both pages of results in my reports, I'd have to do a select all on each of those pages to make that happen. And you can tag up to 200 listings per report, so keep that in mind. Deselect all is just going to uncheck everything on that page. If you prefer to do individual selects as you review, here to the right of the snapshot overview, add to report, click in that box to set that individual listing aside to include in your report. If you're looking at your results in the grid view format, upper right-hand corner of the grid view also has a select all and deselect all, works the exact same way. Individual selects are to the left of the logo in the grid view. And if you're looking at an individual listing, in the upper right-hand corner of the individual listing, add to report, just check off that box to set it aside. Once you've selected everything for your reports, come up to the toolbar all the way to the right, click on reports. That gathers everything you've tagged, sends it to a holding page, gives you the opportunity to do a final review, final edit. Delete all deletes everything from your set of tagged listings and allows you to start from scratch. The red X deletes individual listings from what you've tagged. But let's say this is what I want in my report. I have 2 options, contact report and detailed report. The contact report is just that top-line contact information on the listings that you've tagged. It's enough to remind you that you were interested in enough that you didn't want to forget about them. Pulls in the title, media type, class or market name, owner, manager, publisher name, general contact information from the listing, media kit URL if they have one, as well as a website URL. Once it's in Excel, save it as an Excel document and manipulate it however you so choose. Oops, did I jump out of the... I must have jumped out of the website. Sorry, guys. Oops. So let's see. And then the detailed report just builds on that contact report. And what it does is it pulls in additional detail based on the type of media you have tagged. So the additional detail for websites is that editorial profile that gives you insight into content and audience, excuse me, as well as the compete unique visitor number that's being reported. So that's it in terms of the 2 reports as well. So we've been through searching, we've been through reporting, we've been through reviewing results. Let's use a couple of examples and walk through those. So in our first example, my client is looking to reach a wide range of consumers in the New York City area. They want a pretty good spread between age and gender. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the New York DMA and select that. And I'm also going to select the compete audience demographics from my filtering categories as well. So once my results load, you can see I have a wide range of results such as NBC4 New York, and I can go into these listings and start reviewing the data that's important to me, including that compete information under the Audience Metrics tab and the demographic information as well. I can further review the other results in my set and the detail under the Metrics tab as well. So let's look at another example. And this example is for a client that's new to your agency. They're looking to launch a new line of pet food over the internet, and since you're not familiar with this niche, but you know they're trying to reach pet owners, we're just going to type in the keyword or keywords of pet owners and see what comes up. What's nice about this open search, again, we can review all of the results that are returned to us, but if we're only looking for consumer sites, we can just select those two consumer classifications and focus our efforts on the sites in the consumer classifications and exclude those from the business-to-business class. So a couple of quick examples, a lot of information covered today. I think we have time for a couple of questions, so if you haven't submitted them via the chat box, please do so. Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, I know we did have one question come in earlier on, even though we had asked to kind of wait. If you do have questions, please go ahead and submit them. If we don't get a chance to answer them, we'll answer them via our blog at blog.srds.com. But one question that came in, and I think maybe we might have sort of answered it, do you have all the websites in the U.S. listed?
That's a good question, and it does come up frequently, and the answer is no. We only list U.S. websites that accept advertising. That way, you don't have to try and figure out if a site you're considering accepts ads. We've already done that digging for you, and we've taken care of that first major step. That's something that you just can't do with a Google search.
Okay.
Anything else?
And let's see, thank you for your questions. How current is the data on ad format sizes, ad formats and sizes?
Yep, and that's a good question as well. So as I mentioned, we are using a proprietary technology to provide this information to us. We report the ad sizes and formats that were served on the websites that we have listed within the most recent 3 months.
All right. Let's see here. Thank you. Is there a difference between the sites listed under digital versus under websites under business publications?
That's an excellent question too, and that's something that I try and remind our subscribers about. So the difference between the digital website database, excuse me, and the digital listings that you might see excuse me, in the business database is that the digital website database has all 21,000 websites that we've identified that accept advertising in it. What's in the business database are the business-to-business websites that we've identified. So they live in both places. It's just in the business database you only have the business-to-business sites. In the consumer database you only have the consumer sites, and so forth.
Okay, and point of clarification too from the previous question, so all sites in the U.S. that accept advertising, not just those that pay to be listed.
Well, and this is a common misconception too. No media property that is listed in SRDS pays to be listed. It's free to have a basic listing in SRDS, so they are not paying to be listed in our database. It's U.S. websites that accept advertising that we have listed, and again, they don't have to pay for that basic listing.
Okay. Thank you very much for the questions. If any other come in, as I mentioned, we will go ahead and post those to blog.srds.com, but that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. As I mentioned, we will send out a link with the recording to the email address that you used to register for today's webinar. As always, please feel free to reach out to your SRDS rep at any time or the SRDS Service Center, or of course you can reach out directly to Tina at tina.stevens@kantarmedia.com. Let us know if you have any feedback about today's webinar, and have a great afternoon. Thank you, everybody.